The Slung Low Theatre Company started out as a joke between two working-class kids from Sheffield. Today, it commands £500,000 a year while creating outlandish and daring theatre. The type of theatre that makes us question what we truly know about the art. In a world where arts budgets are cut, I meet the man who can make it all happen.
We're fulfilling a need, and I think the overall mission is that theatre should be... The idea of coming together as a group of people, both performers and participants, and through some glorious art, working out what it means to be alive now, has somehow become this sort of staid and pompous and dry and expensive and privileged thing. I don't know how it's just become boring. And the overall mission is to make it not that. It's to make it exciting and sweaty and vital and engaging and accessible.
Meet Alan Lane. He got into theatre by accident, and then he couldn't give it up, and it's a good thing. He's taken Slung Low productions out and about across Leeds, and even internationally. He's been behind the art which has transformed parking garages into interactive vampire layers, brought theatre onto speedboats, and even performed in Singapore. Not to mention, he's worked with the likes of Sir Patrick Stewart and won one of the most prestigious awards in theatre, the Samuel Beckett Theatre Trust Award.
The reason why I stuck with it, I think, is that it's like being in a gang. And then that gang gets to do something that's a bit like fighting, but much more positive, with another gang. So I love being in a team and a group of people trying to do something very difficult and with a very hard deadline. And then the other part is when the audience arrive and you go, look, now you just have to take it on trust that we're lovely. Let's go. And that's very exciting. And I don't think I found that in any other part of my life. So it's ended up being all of my life, because why would you spend your time doing anything else apart from that? So it's not just that we do it for a living, it's that it takes over every element of our life. So in some way or another, everything we do is drawing us back to this.
But just as he was graduating from university, Al got sick.
When we left university, we decided we would run a theatre company, and then I got really ill almost immediately having left.
Now, I think this is important. Sometimes we're put in difficult circumstances. Sometimes we overcome, and sometimes we break down. Sometimes it all comes down to perspective.
And I think I got really lucky in that July I got sick. And so I had Hodgkin's lymphoma, which took about 2 years to work through, so 2 years in hospital. And by the time I came back, I had spent 2 years just waiting and wishing for the moment when I would get back to doing what I'd been doing 2 years before. That was where it was sort of, that desire to run a theatre company was like melted in fire, because you go, right, I've spent 2 years saying, it was the last thing I thought before I got sick, and therefore after 2 years you come back going, right, that's the thing I'm now going to do. So I think I got really lucky, because that just took all the difficult, well, yeah, but I could become a teacher, I could be... All of that stuff that my peers went through, I didn't go through any of that.
So this fire is what started his theatre company, Slung Low, where every 2 weeks on a Sunday, a piece of touring radical theatre that would not otherwise be seen is played at the Hub. Tickets are pay what you decide, so the audience pays on their way out. It is entirely designed around the endeavor to get people who would not normally go to theatre to come on out. We're at the Hub now, the Holback Underground Ballroom, which is essentially the space under 5 railway arches. Outside are tons of gardens where they grow vegetables to be used in cooking for the performers. This is all grown in recycled bathtubs, filled with compost that was taken from a drug bust on a marijuana farm next door. When you first walk in, there's a bar room. To the side is a metal boat to be used in an upcoming production. The play space is large and would feel much darker if it weren't for the tapestries on the ceiling and the dozens of chandeliers and lampshades splattered across. But this didn't all happen overnight. It didn't even come together in the first 5 years. Al had to make sacrifices in order to establish Slung Low.
I think it was a destructive process at first, because you come out of those caring models that get you through something like 2 years of cancer, and then realistically running a theatre company is a bit like being the most selfish human being in the world.
Why do you say that?
It's all you do. You have people who you've been with and who've got you through an illness and everything else, and then you find yourself without the time to be able to be with them, then that's much more destructive.
He doesn't stop here. He explains the difficulty in leaving the people who have looked after him to pursue his mission. It's brilliant, but it's come at a cost.
I'm walking to the top of this hill. You can keep company with me until you don't want to go up this hill anymore, but I'm not going to be negotiated back down the hill.
I called Mark Catley, lifetime Leeds resident who's both a screenwriter and a playwright. He's written for the BAFTA-winning series Casualty, as well as EastEnders, Doctors, and Holby City. He's also given his talents to Slung Low. I gave him a ring to ask his thoughts on Al's drive and determination. As a quick side note, I apologize for the quality of the call. It was made long distance. Alright, here we go.
I think Al's got amazing energy, and I used to think it was all the caffeine he drank, but then he stopped drinking caffeine, and he still had the same amount of energy. He's always been able to achieve whatever it is that he set out to achieve, no matter how stupid and chaotic and, impossible it seems. So, I know of other survivors of cancer who kind of went the opposite way and became ultra cautious, but Al, when I first met him, was exactly the opposite to that. So I think it has had an impact on him. I think with Al it's had quite a positive impact on his view of life, and he very much lives it for the moment, and wants to achieve as much as he can with whatever time he has. So the hard work is paying off now.
It's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog. It's been a hard day's night, I should be sleeping like a log.
There is a across all walks of life there is a creeping suspicion. So policemen are bent, and old radio DJs are paedophiles, and politicians are corrupt, and newspapers can't be trusted, and the list has got longer and longer. You kind of are left with no heroes, and the really difficult part about that, or the really destructive part about that, is that there are some principles that are just hacked away at. So the idea of public service is just being hacked away. Doctors are overpaid and greedy. Teachers are militant. It's endless. And you're left with the idea of public service being somehow about laziness and corruption. And you're also left with the idea that the only thing that really matters is making money, or the only thing is being the best, rather than being the most caring, or being the most or educative, or being the most fun, or being like, so actually yes, but can you find people to pay for that fun? No, well then what are you doing? And if you work in the subsidised anything, that's difficult, because people are suspicious. So we're giving away the tickets to the White Whale, and people immediately start the conversation from the point of view, well, it's because you weren't confident that you could sell them. No, it's because, and so there's always a weakness there, rather than that being a positive, progressive step to say the people of Leeds have actually already paid for this show. People of Leeds should be able to come and see this show, and to that end it will be free.
The White Whale, by the way, is a new production coming in September. It will take place on the canal and involves 1.5 tons of metal in the shape of an oil rig sitting in the water. Al is going to set it on fire and sink it in front of 400 people each night. This came from an idea he had 14 months ago, one of those, oh, wouldn't it be great if ideas. This has helped motivate him to keep making theater that is an experience, something that's intoxicating, thrilling, and unrestricted.
And our work that takes place in the streets and involves blowing stuff up and having hundreds of people run around with guns and all that other stuff we do, that always has people stop in the middle of their everyday business and go, wow, I'll maybe watch 10 minutes, and then you go, that was theatre, go, no, it wasn't, that's not theatre. It was. And I think we've been really lucky that whenever we got really downtrodden, or we feel really sorry for ourselves and get a little bit mopey, a moment like that has come along and someone has said, I didn't think this was for me, but wow, bang. And that happens regularly. That's a regular thing, and you sort of holding on to the next one that just says, wow, I didn't think this was for me, but it is, and these are the reasons why, and it's real and it's happening, and you can see it, and you go, yes! I don't think the theatre industry should look like this. I just think a bit of it should, and none of it does.
Slung Low is in the city of a ballet company and a big producing company that has to fill over 1,000 seats a night, and an opera company. Slung Low fills a void. Theatre that might be dirtier, that might be a bit surprising, that might be able to nurture talent in a much speedier way than those organizations can.
I think the other thing is that we're a bunch of very intelligent, very determined people of unlikely origins, and the fact that we collectively said we're going to do this, and then we get on with it, and we have joined the stable of much more established and much more. There are no lords or ladies in our board or our company, and that makes us very unique in the arts. And I'm really proud of that we just get on with it. You sort of cross your fingers and hope that it's doing some good, but you absolutely can take responsibility for the bit that you can control. And in a way that puts the pressure on us to make it more progressive and fair, and that was never really a concern when we were kids. And now we go, no, it has to be, because otherwise the world is definitely not going to change if we don't do this. It might not change the world, but I know that it won't. I know if everyone sits and goes, we can't do anything about it, then it won't change. Whereas if we all clean up our backyard, then maybe slowly but surely it shifts.
So what do we do with all this? What can be done with our dreams when we simply don't know where to start? Is it possible?
What is it you want to do? Say it out loud. Imagine it. Now let's make a list. And I think that's how we've ever done anything here. The community allotment and the mobile orchard was all done the same. Well, wouldn't it be great if? Yes. Okay, well, what do we need for that? We need this, and this. And it's amazing how much of that stuff is achievable.
This all started from an idea. He decided he was going to run a theater company. But in the same way that if you and me decided right now that we're going to definitely become deep-sea divers, we would have no real sense about what that means. Except we know we would get to buy cool gear. So, if you have something you want to do, or something you believe needs to be changed, take the first step. The only thing holding you back is not starting. What is it you want to do? Go ahead now. Say it out loud. Thank you for listening to this week's Storybook UK. I'm Lorraine Metz. Look for happiness in all you do. In the words of Alan Lane.
The thing that brings me most happiness is I'm a 35-year-old oik from very low stock, and I pretty much get to do whatever I want.